Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mac? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They got me by the Drake cause I'm cold with the pen. I find no diamonds but I still shine. You can dig me cause my boy's mine. My tracks playing like a Dalu. The hardest part on my tongue, these niggas warm blue. I'ma throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist, but you smell me. One spark, then I bet you I'ma blow up. Just throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. A versus thinking in his man, but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm drinking knife through the game, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. I came to eat at the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, call me brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I poured all the plaques, you use a Decepticon. Straight rappers in the streets like Cobra. 80s they can float, they like up in the storage and I'm E-man. Up, down, down, man, I'm cheap. You a beast, man, I take a beating. There's a turtle rap, turtle clans get defeated. High samurai, you can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me, cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like a rocket, my whole to the A, and I bet you can stop us. LL bad, when I go and show up, you can hear the haters in the back. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie.
Trying to get in where I fit in.
Your logic in this case is totally illogical, and yet it's absolutely correct. This is just amazing.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on? What's going on? What is going on, everybody? This is your man Dre Mac coming to you again with another episode of the Dre Mac Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. You're feeling the West Coast. Get up. You already know that the early bird gets the worm. And I do apologize. I had a little technical difficulties with the laptop. You know how with the old MacBook, you know how it goes at times. So yeah, that happened. You know what I mean? So it delayed everything just a little bit, but I'm happy to get this thing going. Today I'm just going to talk about The Last of Us episode 3. Um Not gonna lie, this episode uh it was I understood what they were doing, but I'm not gonna lie. I forgot a lot about this episode like immediately after I watched it and started playing 2K with my son. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest with you. There was a lot of stuff that was going on that was just going on and on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, yeah. Now, mind you, I'm a day late, but not a dollar short. Because I came from out of town on yesterday, so that's why I didn't do it in the morning. I was knocked. I didn't get up until way after 4 o'clock because I didn't get into town until after 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I was sleepy. So, but today we're gonna get into it. Of course, I'm gonna give you my breakdown, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts about this particular episode. Again, hope you guys are happy. Let me just get this thing started. I hope you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gant over at the Heavy Gant channel. But you already know how I do. The real question is, all right. Let's get to who is all in the house. Marlon Martin's up in here. What's going on? Xavier Phoenix. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Erica D, aka She Loves Fantasy, is up in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Tracy Woods is up in here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Junior Network. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Torian Rain Reloaded. What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The Church Auntie Roberta's up in here. None of that cuss of spirit today. I'm good today. I'm actually really good today. So we ain't gonna have none of that. But let me see. Presetta is up in here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My man Mo, King Mo, is up in here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, did Andor already start? I didn't get to watch. I had a whole weekend with my family because we had a death in our family. So that's kind of what we had. What my weekend was consisted of, what I'm saying, driving down, hanging with my family, what I'm saying, meeting up with my siblings, what I'm saying, and then going home. So I don't know if Andor has started or not. Let me know in the comment section below. And while you let me know, let me just go ahead and give you to our sponsor, you guys. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that been holding it down for Dre Mac and the crew since the beginning. All right. Back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. Go. Bye. Oh, okay, that stopped. All right, but big shout out to everyone who is a part of the crew. I really appreciate it. Again, you guys with that have the that's members to the channel that are also that do the super chats and all of that stuff. you really, really, really helped me out as far as this channel. And it's funny because when I recorded that, I literally just got my hair. You know what I'm saying? The two braid twist, and you see how my hair just shriveled. But this is how really long it was at the some parts at the at that part. Like, look at this. It's. But I love how our hair just. You never know. But what we not is bald headed. Oh no! Hey, look! No, you guys are awesome. I had to. Now I kept saying I need to do something strictly for the members. I need to make a video strictly for the members just to say I appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying so much. So that was a way, and I'm thinking about it. Of course, everything is a living organism with me. So trust me, I was thinking about something else that would make it change too. So you know. It's always gonna be something. It's always a different way I might approach it. You know what I'm saying? So I do again, I do really, 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 really appreciate every single member that's on here. So all right. Now, what I mean by this episode, it's a lot of course, there's going to be episodes, filler episode. I won't say this is filler in the Dragon Ball Z type of sense. You know what I mean? Or Dragon Ball GT Super or whatever, where they just throw a random um episode in that has nothing to do with the main plot. So it's not filler in that sense. It's more exposition that, for what I understand, was not in the game. But I think there was a lot of this that kind of drug on. Hopefully it's paid off in the long run, in the long run. But it was a lot at that particular time where I was just sitting there and I was like, yeah, you know, can we wrap it up? Can we wrap it up? I mean, just saying. So that was the only part, and you'll know the part I'm talking about when we get to that part. You know what I mean? So, but other than that, like I said, to me there was really solid acting. You know what I mean? That was in here. And again, y'all can talk about Bella Ramsey's face all you want. Her acting, you know what I'm saying, was phenomenal in here, and especially when she went and grabbed Joel's coat. I ain't gonna lie, that hit me. It hit me in the feels. You know what I mean? So let's get straight into it. Um, so let me share my screen. Share my screen. This was acting stupid. Share my screen, even though it was acting stupid. All right. Well, and that's what it seemed like. It was more of the setup. Yeah, like I said, it was, and I would get to the scene where I was just like, "Oh, okay, you guys just gotta hurry this up. I get it, but hurry up." No, I'm not talking about that scene. Not talking about that scene. Actually, I was actually cool with that scene. The point was to put Ellie and Dina on the path to war. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But a little bit of it could have been, a little bit of it, I do agree, could have been cut. You know what I mean? But then I'll complain, man, this episode was short. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, so this opens up in the aftermath, of course. Let me cut off the music because don't want to get hit with the copyright strike from Max. They've been good to me. But this comes into aftermath of the Battle of Jackson, right? And you see all the dead corpse, especially of the infected, all over the place, burnt crispy. You know what I'm saying? They had they barbecue. You know what I'm saying? And s'mores was on the menu. So they go over and you see, Joel's watch, and you see this young lady is cleaning Joel's deceased body. And then Tommy walks in and takes over for the young lady. It starts cleaning his body for him, which, now he is, you could say he is now one with his daughter now. But I think this took a toll on Joel You know what I mean? Because way back in season 1, he was looking for his brother. He was looking for his brother, and he was gone. And yeah, it was very noticeable. Pedro being missing from this episode. I think his presence. And again, that's what I was talking about when I did the reaction video to Deleted Villain. Like, you have to have it, it's the duality of of acting. You have to have someone to play off of. So Bella Ramsey was playing off of her Game of Thrones mate, Pedro Pascal, and it worked because Pedro, I don't care what you guys say, Pedro has a presence on screen. He legitimately has a presence on screen. And especially when he's in, because we spent so much time with them in season 1, that presence with Joel and Ellie is evident and it pours out. You know what I'm saying? Because he commands the screen so much. And there's not a lot of people that are actors that can actually command the screen. There's a difference. You just walk on screen and bam, you could just feel it. You know what I'm saying? You don't even got to say nothing. It's their presence. And you did feel the loss in this particular episode. And I think a little bit of it is that as much as I give Bella Ramsey her props as far as her acting ability, she doesn't have that full presence when you are looking at a star. I'm not saying superstar. I'm not saying megastar. A star. You know what I mean? A star. Somebody that you could look at and be like, this person is going on to see bigger and better things in their career. She's good. Not taking anything away from her. She's good. I'm not talking about her face, because I'll be over here on the face. Her presence on screen, because it has nothing to do with your face. When you walk on screen and you be like, that's that person, you can take them out of this show and put them somewhere else, and they're the lead. They're the megastar. She doesn't have it. I don't see it. I see a very talented actress. I see a very talented individual on screen, but what I don't see is a star. Does that make sense to y'all? Does that make sense? Put it a 1. A 1 in the chat if it makes sense. Put a 2 in the chat if you thought I lost my mind. Until they put her in more situations, which we're going to see that. You watch the cutscene, because I actually last season I did watch cutscenes from the entire game because it was on YouTube, but it's like 8 hours long. So I watched a little bit of it, cut it, watch some more, cut it. And so there's particular things that's going to happen now. Again, because it was so long, I forgot a lot of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I remember that. But there's things that's going to happen. How does she give off? Oh, okay. I put it like this. I will give you an example of someone commanding the screen when there's a megastar on screen, right? When there's a megastar on screen and you're looking at someone who is commanding the screen. Remember Terminator? Remember when you was watching the first Terminator? And you seen Sarah Connor on film, you seen Linda Hamilton, and you like, okay, at that particular time, you're like, okay, she's kind of the damsel in distress. She's the kind of the MacGuffin of the situation, because of what's going on. But when you see her in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and she's just as big of a star as Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger. Like, you don't have Terminator 2 without Linda Hamilton giving the performance in everywhere. She's just oozing like, I took her as someone who went through some shit that was that was going through PTSD. She didn't see in the future. She like, nah, I'm good. I'm shooting everything. You know what I mean? That type. You know what I mean? Of course, Linda Hamilton was a little older. It was 7 years from the first Terminator movie. So you actually had a cleansing, of her previous performance to her next performance. Right. But when she got back on screen, Linda Hamilton is just as big of a star as Robert Patrick and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what I need to see. Will they make her? Because there's a way, like I said, they made Martin and Will actually megastars on Bad Boys just because the way that they shot the film, right? You know what I mean? Again, when they slowed it down and you seen the shirtless Will running down the street, they made him an action star right then and there. You know what I mean? You made Martin the comedic, you know what I'm saying, badass. He still handled his business, but he had something. He had something. It's just, again, two big stars on film made a great film. No matter how some of the dialogue and stuff like that is, you know what I'm saying, it's not as great, but or some of the scenes you'd be like, hey, you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. They need to film it in a way where they make Bella Ramsey a superstar. Will they do that in this series? Is yet to be seen. That's all I'm kind of saying. Hey, Lana J, what's up? Good morning. Andre Ware's up here. Good morning. Dre, it felt weird not seeing Pedro's name in the opening credit. It felt weird, period. You know what I mean? I think it was made to feel that loss. Because again, these shows and television and movies are about emotion. Matter of fact, the drama, drama in anything brings out emotion. Just look at sports. You know what I mean? Sports is a big vernacular when you're talking about emotions in your entertainment. And that's the way that your shows need, had to have something where it pulls out an emotion. I talked about that last week. And you felt the loss. And I think this episode was about let's grieve for Joel. Let's show the aftermath. Not only grieve for Joel, but we're also going to grieve for all the men and women who lost their lives, in the battle, you call it the Battle of Jackson. I think it was a lot of symbolism that they showed in here. And then you got your points, and then you off to Seattle. So, let me see real quick. Like RDJ, like when he gets on screen, he just oozes with charisma. But yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, and that's a deep scene. That's it, which we go get to that here in just a second. But I just want to explain. I want to get my point of view on that because I think that's the biggest point, is she has her phenomenal scenes, but just like, Erica D said, she carried the rest of the season by herself. And I need a little bit more Tommy too. I need a little bit more Tommy. I do. And I need Tommy to be a little bit more eager to go handle business. Maybe that's what we need. Lana. Ellie alone ain't gonna hit. And I think she has the potential. It's not necessarily the script, right? It's the way they frame the character. And I give you an example. Of the way that you could frame a character, and you could be like, I like this character. A character. Let me get an example. Let me give an example. Okay, I give you this example because I told you I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan, right? So and I'm gonna use this a couple of examples, but TMNT 1990 when Raphael goes on the roof by itself and the Foot are following him, right? They follow him up there. You know what I'm saying? He get a couple up, but he gets the crap kicked out of him, right? He gets the crap beat out of him, right? And they threw him off of the, threw him through the skyline back onto the floor where the other turtles is at, right? And you just see this lifeless body. Now, if you're a Turtles fan and you like Raphael, you like, oh snap, why did they do him like that? Emotion. They did it on purpose, right? They did it on purpose. You're seeing this guy laid out the whole fight. So when Casey Jones is there and he was like, what are you doing with my little green pal right there? And you see that the way that they film Casey Jones, and Casey Jones is fighting in this fire along with the turtles, along with that music, the way that Steve Barron was framing the shots, and that you got this fire, and you got all of this going on, and they're trying to get Raphael out of there, you know what I'm saying, with the rest of the turtles, along with fighting the Foot Clan, right? It's framing it where the turtles just lost. They just lost. They had to retreat, but they made Casey Jones look like a badass. Raphael is knocked out. Will he ever recover? There's questions, but now you have a sense of, will he ever recover? You have a sense of urgency. You want to make sure. Now you're feeling, is Raphael going to be all right? Casey Jones is a badass, and then you get a little bit of his backstory. Now you're liking Casey Jones because now he's interacting with everybody. You know what I mean? But if you don't frame it the way that they frame it, and make Casey really the hero in that particular moment while the Turtles is taking a massive L, then you don't get the emotions for the next few scenes. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to Ellie. Will they show her in a way where you could take an L, but you could also frame her as this particular badass that I'm actually rooting for? So I'm rooting for Bella Ramsey, because she doesn't look like the character. Okay, but can she give a superstar performance? And that's all I'm looking for. Can you be like, can I root for you? Can I eventually root for you? And like, damn it, she is bringing it. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Go Linda Hamilton. And she goes full Linda Hamilton. You got me. And that's the only thing that I'm saying as far as that. You know what I mean? Can she go into a way where how they film Linda Hamilton, and Linda Hamilton is dragging that leg, chock, dragging that leg, boom, drag it. That's memorable. You know what I mean? I need to have memorable moments with Ellie in this show. You know what I mean? Where I'm just looking at her, I'm like, dude, oh my God. So this is what I'm looking for. I think this is 9 episodes in this season. So by episode 9, what will I feel, and will it be emotional? Will I be rooting for the character? Would I like the character at the end? So that's where I'm coming from as far as that. All right, let's get more into it. Okay, Dre, I don't know if you peeped it, but Martin was credited before Will. Martin was actually cast first. Recommended Will to be his partner. I did know that. Oh, it's 7 episodes. Okay, hey, they got 4 episodes to make me believe that this woman is it. But I did know that. But also with that, because they talked about it before. But also with that, you know what I mean? It's the way that they portrayed the characters, and the way, again, it takes really good shots. There's shots that I just remember from movies because of the way that it's framed. The Godfather, when the Godfather is sitting there in the orchard in the day of his the day of his daughter's wedding, and they're asking him questions, and they're trying to get stuff out of the Don, but it's the way that they filmed, that particular scene that is just he looks like the man. That's the man that you need to holler at. You know what I mean? I make you an offer you can't refuse. That's memorable. You know what I mean? There's memorable scenes that you think about. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of where I'm getting at. All right, I'm going too long. All right, let me see. Yeah, and we got to see if he does get more involved. Will he go on the trip? Little Hamilton was more mature when she started her role. Not sure that we could get that from this actor yet. And she's 20, but again, I don't want to limit her because of her age because she's only 20 years. She 20? Yeah, she's only 20 years old, and I don't want to limit her because she's young. She can't bring it. I mean, there has been plenty of young actors that has brought it. Ease Bayou. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Raising Isaiah is all. You know what I mean? So I want to see again. The director has to put her in a position and frame her in a way where she can bring out where you play to her strengths. You know what I mean? The actress from Orphan, yeah, where they play to her strengths. And right now, her strength is really her emotion, the way she portrays her emotion. When she's being a dick, she pisses me off. So honestly, she got something. You know what I mean? But it's her emotion, and especially like I said, the way that she got up and screamed. You know what I'm saying? That hit me differently. You know what I mean? It hit me differently. But again, they can't show Joel's face because Joel's face because somebody went upside the head with a 9-iron. What's going on, Pam? Pam Entertainment Television is in the house. Good morning. But he would just make sure he's like, say hello to my niece. But you get that wide shot of all those people. I didn't even know they had an infirmary or a hospital inside of Jackson. This was new to me. When I seen this scene, I thought it was a flashback. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought this was a flashback. I'm like, where is this hospital located at? Because the way that set is designed, it didn't look like a hospital that was there. But there's a hospital there. And you see her, and I'm thinking this is a flashback for when the doctors tried to kill her to extract the cure, or you know what I mean? And Joel came in to save her, but when she looks up and she's seen, for one, she's in the hospital, but she wakes up and see, that clip of Joel. I ain't gonna lie. This is where and that's crazy. She's not really good comedically, but emotionally, good God almighty, she brings that emotion. Maybe that's her time on Game of Thrones. I'm not for sure, but emotionally, she does bring it. So when she sees that in her, she sees that moment where she sees Joel laying there dead and Abby's getting ready to stab her. She gets up screaming. Good God, it was awesome. It's a very awesome scene. So of course, this episode is called The Path. So they are pathway. They're finding their way into, the path to Seattle. This is just gearing themselves towards it. The town is actually rebuilding, which this looks like a set. I'm not gonna lie. When I seen this, I'm like, most definitely looks like a set. Most definitely looks like a set. But hey, you got to get these workers over here. You got to earn your pay, Jesse. So go over there and hammer part of this set in so we can set another action scene over here. So this is 3 months later. Ellie was in the infirmary, all of that with broken ribs for 3 months. This is 3 months later. This is the spring, which again, to me, I'll be even more scared that the infected is going to come because honestly, spring, flowers start growing, fungus, you know what I'm saying? Spores. Yeah. So you got a doctor in here. I'm like, you got a doctor in the house? He was like, yeah. So he gives Ellie the clean bill of health. And what's her name? Marie? Is that her name? She need to be worried about where Kevin McAllister, Kevin is at. Only worried about what's going on over here, in this world. Where Kevin at? Did you leave him in Chicago so he could be a clicker? Huh? I know he went through some things, but don't leave him to be a clicker. But she was trying to get some just information. She was just doing a psychoanalysis babble, that's always going on. And Ellie was basically lying. She was like, what more do you see? You know what I'm saying? Did you and Joel talk? He was like, yeah, we had a great conversation. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was like, nah, maybe it's just something I need to be able to handle. She was like, word. And she could tell the girl's lying. You know what I'm saying? Anytime somebody looks that direction before saying something, if I start looking up here and all the way around and not looking directly at you, trust and believe, I'm lying. Well, she should have told her where the stash of weed is at and stop asking me. I ain't going to be your dealer. You know what I'm saying? Is that how Kevin got caught up? Because you was over there high? You know what I'm saying? You was high, lady. And she knew she was lying. So we walked off and, So she walked off and, again, I do. If there's certain points of this show that I really like, and I like the way that they framed her in this long shot. Because you see her walk and she goes from that face to the face that I make every time I get into work. That's literally the face that I make when I go to work. But I like the way that they framed her, because this is the opposite of what you had when Abby had her flashback and her dream where she was walking in and seeing her father passed away. So you go to Joel's house, and for what I understand, this is directly out of the game. You know what I mean? That she goes in, she finds different items, in the room. I think that was her room with Joel. But then, she goes in, she finds his carvings and all of that. And I knew that this was directly lifted from the game, where she finds his watch. Then she turns around and finds the old blicky. You know what I'm saying? The same gun OG Bobby Johnson put the potato on. You know what I'm saying? The hood silencer, and then she goes in. And again, I don't care what y'all say. This right here caught me. This, I'm not going to lie, because you see the tears running from her face. And the reason I listened to, the after show where they talk about this particular scene, and they said the camera lady said she was crying because you feel again, you feel the loss of Joel in this episode, but the way that she cried onto here, this was superb acting. This was superb acting. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this was difficult. This was a difficult thing to do, because we've all had someone that we were close to that we lost. And if you hear an old voicemail, I got my really dear friend that lost her life for cancer. She's on my podcast on Spotify from 5 years ago now. I think it's like 5 or 6 years ago from now. So anytime I hear that, it sparks the same emotion. You know what I mean? Or I see, my grandmother, or, a picture of my grandmother or something like that, because you can remember her smell or something like that. My aunt. There's always certain people you can connect to that will make you feel that emotion. So when you seen that coat that he normally has that she broke down, man, this was deep. This was deep. And that's why I said that this is where she's really good at. You know what I mean? This is where she shines at. What I would do, what I'm talking about is the emotional part where you start to be like, damn, I understand where Ellie is coming from. I understand wholeheartedly where Ellie is coming from. And then to me, then if you have these type of scenes, it's so emotional that brings you in. You also need to frame her at her most bad. I'm talking about not fantasy badass. The reason why I brought up Linda Hamilton, because if you saw Terminator, you would never think that was the same Linda Hamilton from the first Terminator that was in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So she has to go where she's cold and malicious, and she's in the goal to kill this thing before it gets even worse. So we're talking about Abby. You took one of mine, I'm gonna take one of yours. She need to go full Tupac. She needs to go full Tupac. And this was deep. I'm not gonna lie. This was a deep emotional scene. And she has to wipe her tears because Dina is downstairs. You know what I mean? And Dina, you know, her and Dina is talking about exactly, you know, how she's feeling. You know, she's just getting out the hospital and what she plans to do. And she drops a truth bomb on her. You said her speech was good, too. Even though she ain't mean none of this, it was like that psychiatrist said. Exactly. She did. Like I said, she does. I don't. Like I said, people are mad because of the way that she looks. If you put a cuter woman, I'm just being real. If you put a cuter woman with her same acting ability, you wouldn't have a complaint in the world. Not one complaint. But again, I'm waiting to see if they, you know, how they frame her in the moments where she needs to be badass. You know what I mean? So that's what, yeah, and she does. She need to go full Punisher. She does full Black Panther from the comics. That's what she need to do. Let me go get Claw real quick. You know what I mean? So they have this dialogue that she drops a truth bomb that she knows who the people are that killed or unalived, because I don't think you can say that on YouTube. That unalived Joel, and she has the information on how to be able to get it. But do you want a cookie? And at first she was upset, but she would start chewing on that cookie. And trust me, when you start getting a full-fledged, that moist, juicy cookie, there's nothing else that you argued about that'll make you forget the cookies. So she started bringing it down. She kind of, you know, laid out the what they look like and all of that. So you meet her back up with Tommy, and Tommy, Ellie, and Dina have this conversation because now that she kept the information from Tommy, because she wasn't supposed to, you know, she's supposed to tell Tommy, you know what I mean? I'm not playing. That warm, sometimes that warm chocolate chip cookie, you just forget what we was arguing about. What was we saying? Anyway, and there's nothing wrong with her activity. I just don't like the way that she looks. But she spills the beans that she knows who these people are. We could be halfway to Seattle right now. If it was Joel, we'll be halfway. Boy, you stupid. Oh man, he was like, he found that button. But he was like, she would have been halfway to Seattle right now. You know what I mean? She was like, you know, I think this is the part where I didn't really like. Not this part. I got to get the council together. You know what I mean? And let's put a vote to it so we can bring more people out. Skip that council. You know what I'm saying? How about the three of us go on a suicide mission? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Which I understand, but again, this is not the video game. This is the actual show. And honestly, in a video game, there's no consequence. You know what I'm saying? When you go out and do stuff on a video game. In the show, per se, he has a wife and a son that he has to look after, and he's basically the de facto leader of Jackson. If you really want to ask it, him and his wife. You know what I mean? So it's almost, what do you do? You know, in this particular situation. You know what I mean? It was like, you lie to me, you know, you withhold information again, you're gonna be on crap detail. So he was like, let me get a couple days and let me get the people together. But to me, right here, you're thinking about it. Right here, to me, he was thinking about it. And the reason why I think he was thinking about it, because I eventually believe that he's going to meet up with them in Seattle one way or the other. You know what I mean? Because this is Joel. This is your brother we're talking about. You know what I mean? This is your brother. Now we get to this group, and oh man, not the slashers, but this is another group. While we were in Seattle, and you see this scene where these group of people, and I think they're like cult-like radicalists or whatever, but they're their own group. And I think in the video game, they're one of the antagonists in the video game too. They do this whistle call or whatever. You know what I'm saying? All of them got scars on their face. You want to know how I got these scars? You know what I mean? Fighting wolf, maybe. I don't know. But they put these scars on their face to mark who they are or whatever. And you have this exchange with this daughter, this young little girl, and her daddy. And she's teaching them the ways of whistling. You know what I'm saying? And not the way you whistle while you twerk, but in the way for them to be able to communicate with each other so they can know each other's position and stuff like that. This is directly from the video game. So she was like, she doesn't feel safe. So he gave her a hammer because in the video game, they use hammers. You know what I'm saying? But actually, they are ambushed in this particular scene. And I ain't gonna lie, that scene was sad. That was sad. Now you get Ellie in here, you know what I'm saying, with Joe punching the bag, right? Remember I was talking about framing? Let me show you this because I want to get to it or whatever. I think when she goes back and starts punching again. Did I say Joel or Tommy? Okay, remember I said framing? This is not good framing. I understand you're taking out the anger, but the close-up, if they would have, I would have changed this particular scene and had her back here, you know, punching, showing that emotion. Not that close. And the only reason why not that close, because again, you know, I'm trying to, particularly that close. Yeah, she's angry, and I get it, but I didn't like the way that they framed her because you don't see the full scope of her emotion. You see her from her face, but you don't see the full scope of the emotion. And I believe this is one of the scenes that I would have been like, hold up, back up off of her face. Let's see it from about 5 to 7 feet away instead of 1 to 2 feet away. The reason why I'm saying is because I think the emotion would have came out a lot stronger if you would have seen her punching his bag. You would have seen her full body. You know what I mean? I did not like the way that this was framed. You know, so Ellie and Jesse is having this conversation about what they call him, Captain Montana, is having this conversation about what is going on, you know, with the vote. And this is one of those rare moments where she does look like a 19-year-old kid. Yeah, also show her knuckles afterwards. Show the bruising. How long has she been punching this bag? You know what I mean? I would have framed her a little bit out. You know what I mean? And then I would have shown her close up when she's taking her gloves off so you see how bruised her knuckles are. I agree with you on that, Toria. I agree with you. But he was like, hey, are you going to have my back? Because, hey, I want to try to make this proposal. And he was like, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? You know, he was like, I ain't going to make no promises, but, you know, I'm Captain Montana. So this is the scene I'm talking about. Right here. The town hall meeting needed to, hold up. You know what I'm about to play. The town hall meeting needed.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
It needed that because he was rambling on about stuff I did not care about. He need to come on. Shut up. We got other people to come on. Shut it up. Can you shut up and sit down? No, they kind of drew this out. Of course, again, you know, it is an interesting scene because you get to see the one guy that she got into it with. I can't think of his name right now. But she was, but this young lady was like, you know, I know we all came to talk about it here. I lost people too. You know what I'm saying? I lost people in here. What up, Tina? I lost people up in here too. You know, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? I lost my sister, but we shouldn't be going after revenge. We should supposed to be, you know, let's protect this house. You know, and the council was listening. She was like, "Oh, Steph, they ain't gonna believe nothing that I just said." But my man up in here, You know, again, he could have been cut out. Oh boy, talking about corn and all of that could have been cut out. Shut up. They could have been cut out. We could have went straight to we could have went to his, I mean, a little bit of his scene, like his scene went on too long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it. You know, we're not talking about revenge. We need to turn the other cheek. That's why y'all over here getting your ass whooped by Clickers and Wolf, because you over here turning the other cheek. This ain't the time. There's monsters out here. There's monsters. I get it. I love the Lord too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to take on the Lord and be like, vengeance is mine. Thus said the Lord. Please, eye for eye. I'm coming to get you. You know what I mean? We already fighting Clickers. We fighting the infected. And then you gonna come around and you gonna be like, well, let's be cool. Let's not ruffle no. Nah, Cup. Nope. Exactly. It's just way too much that Core tickled me. It's just, he went, oh my God, it was getting on my nerves. And my man just got up and said, I'm sick of this mess. I'm sick of all the monologuing. We talking about Joe here and other people. We need to go handle business. I only got one leg and got a cane. And this is where, again, this is also, no, Seth yes, his name, Seth. Thank you, Torian. Seth did own this scene. You know what I mean? He owned the scene. What pissed me off about this whole entire scene is after all of that, Ellie was still being a dick. And I'm like, what for? You know what I'm saying? What do you, first of all, he's down for your cause. Yeah, he said something that he shouldn't have said. You know what I mean? But you're gonna be holding grudges like this the whole entire time? Like, it ain't like you can whoop the man. You know what I mean? You think you can, but you're not. So let bygones be bygones and be like, all right, you know, I'm not fooling with you like that, but you know, he's for that action, for the cause. I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I'm good with it. So yeah, most definitely, he owned the scene. And then they got to hear what Ellie said, and she was talking about a bunch of us and us, and you know, you know, because she left Kevin in Chicago, and she has to worry about her own demons. She already knew that she was lying. She knew that she couldn't wait to get to, you know, to get a chance to get to Seattle and get the hell up on so she could be able to get revenge. Exactly. I mean, he's trying to redeem himself by saying sorry. Like, okay, you're going to have beef with me. Some people, they hold grudges. I get it. But at the same time, when I'm over here, you know, talking about that action, remember that's your daddy. Daddy. Like sinners, daddy. I think daddy is gone, and I think we need to handle this action. You know what I mean? So Marie was happy about it. You knew these three voted no. As soon as they put these three on screen up, like, my man in the green is most definitely a no. Jesse's a no, and she like, I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. You said, wasn't Ellie just acting out of her own grief and guilt? And it is, but I think there's a time and place, and I think it's wrong timing when you're having that. And again, I can't cross-reference it from the game because all of this part wasn't in the game. This is something that they made for the show. You know what I mean? So, because in the video game, you got to go direct. You're following a linear path, and they ain't got time for votes. You know what I mean? Or any of that. So she makes a compelling argument, though. This is about us, and people's like, oh, okay, well, let's make a vote. This is as boring as when we have to vote for stuff at work. Oh, God. Yes, I know it benefits us, but man, is boring. And it was like, yes, no, yes, no. Yes, yes, no. And you lost. And he was looking like Fraser. But again, you're right. Seth was really good. It was really good. And her drunk ass is sitting there. You're not thinking about your kid. Where's Kevin? But she out here watching the worst baseball game I've ever saw in my life. You know what I mean? And she over here. You got to get drunk. First of all, I get it. I get it. You got to have fun in everything. I get it. But ain't y'all afraid of the spores or the it's okay. If I have it January, you went 3 months. Now let's say this is April. Let's say this is March, late March. You know what I'm saying? Or even early April. Don't you know trees and all of that stuff grow? Wouldn't it fungus grow? I'm too scared. Nah, I don't buy this. I'm not watching no video game, drinking beer, and watch the worst kids on the face of the planet. You know what I mean? Play baseball. That's trash. You know, in this scene, you know, a little bit. I think this could have been cut or could have been shortened. You know what I mean? But she was just making sure that she knew that she was a liar. You know what she's going to go do. You know, and the question really is Tommy going to be on the journey later on, you know, with her? Is he going to meet her there? You know, and she's like, look, I'm a drunk that lost her husband, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. And honestly, I don't care about her story. I think she's a backstabbing state right now, and she's looking for revenge, you know what I mean, on how did Joel kill her husband and how did he do it? So I don't trust her at all. I don't trust nothing she's talking about. You know, so she's getting the old dirty 30 together. And Dina walks in with like, oh, you got the old blicky, right? Just like, you gonna shoot your ass. What she said, you gonna shoot your ass off. You know what I mean? And she was like, it's already gone. Because she ain't got nothing back there. So they have this dialogue where basically Dina's going to with her. She got the map. Remember, she's the brains and Ellie is the brawn. So she's going to go on this trip with her. We're going on a trip and our favorite rocket ship coming through the sky. Pop, pop, little Einsteins. You know what I mean? Because little Einstein, we out here popping fools. Yak, 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 yak. So she was letting her know that I even, you know, got the backpack or whatever. I got a little bit of help. Seth was the help. You know what I'm saying? And this is what pissed me off. Like, I get it. Dude called you something that he shouldn't have called you, right? You know what I'm saying? Just because you're a lesbian. You know what I'm saying? But the man is trying to make sure that you got weapons and stuff like that. You can't even say thank you. You can't. Oh, man, I ain't gonna lie. This pissed me off. Because it also makes me feel like you should just get shot. Like, you know what I mean? You should go super Leroy Jenkins and then get shot. You know what I mean? And y'all know what Leroy Jenkins is. Leroy Jenkins. And get shot because you didn't even have to. Okay, he was wrong. I get it. But he's trying to make sure that you good. You know what I'm saying? Not only did the man feed you, gave you the sandwiches, he also made sure to give you a better weapon that you're going to need on your journey. And you want to make this face? Ooh, sometimes like she pissed me. But again, that's good acting, because if she was poor acting, I wouldn't have gave a damn about this show at all. But I just feel like she's just being too harsh on him. You know what I mean? But I get it. She's not supposed to be forgiven or anything like that. So I love this scene. I love the way that this is framed. You know what I'm saying? At the sunrise, you know what I mean? Something that Stax and Mary could never see again. This I love this, and I wondered if they filmed this on location, like in Montana or somewhere like that. But I love the way that this looks. I love the cinematography here. You know what I mean? I love it. And she goes to Joel's grave. And this is outside of Jackson, where they said they buried the dead. And I love this. You know what I'm saying? And the black people ain't the only ones that pour out a little liquor. She poured out a little coffee beans. You know what I'm saying? This is for my homie Joe. You know what I'm saying? Coffee beans, because I'll holler at you later. You know, and Dean is feeling it too. And of course, Ellie has a little bit more, you know, sentimental, sentiment to this. But she poured out a little coffee bean. She was like, "This is for my man Joe." You know what I'm saying? Make you drink coffee that I don't like in the afterlife. You know what I mean? So she was like, I'm going to go. And again, doesn't this just suppose the same scene that we seen in episode 2, where you see Abby with the fireflies, and they're around their graves. They're basically their gravestones, where their people, uh, was unalive dead also. So again, two totally different scenes, but I love the way that this wide shot this is gorgeous right here. This is cinematography at its finest. I love this. Matter of fact, this whole entire thing, looking over the mountains, I don't know, again, I don't know the filming location per se, but all of this scenery is great. While they're playing games and stuff like that, and again, this is the same thing we seen when when Joel and Ellie was going to Kansas City, when they were on their way to Colorado. But there's a difference on here. What up, brother Juma? The only difference here is that you have the presence of Pedro Pascal, and we're trying to, which again, they did an excellent job of framing them from afar, right? When you frame them from afar, it gives a little bit, to me, it gives a little bit more of you. First of all, you can fall in love with the cinematography and the scenery, right? You can ADR stuff in later, slight exposition or something like that, but it gives the journey that they're on. Hence why this episode is called The Path. I love this part. So they're going in there and they're playing games of doing the letters of the alphabet is the name of a band, which I would lose immediately. Yeah, I would most definitely lose. So she's on this journey right here, and she noticed, this is when they noticed it was going to rain, and she was like, we need to shut up shop, because she sees the rain coming. She was like, well, how do you know that? She was like, I'm magic, I'm a witch. So this is the scene that we get in the video game. It's framed a little different. They talk about the kiss or whatever, and she was like, your kiss is basically a sex. I didn't have no problem with this, you know what I mean, because this is some time for them to actually have some character dialogue and to be able to bond and see what the characters is going to go in the future. So I didn't mind this, and they lifted a lot of this up from a different cutscene in the actual video game. So I didn't have no problem with that. And then they were talking about basically that she's back with Jesse, you know what I'm saying? And they're making it, basically they're making it work. And she was like, I wasn't that drunk and I wasn't that high either. Oh, snap. It was all right. So now you start to see the Seattle Trail. That's when they reach, they find this sect of people that are now unalived, and they see the bullet cases, so they know that my man has been shot in the back. Now I seen, what I heard was the flies and stuff like that in the background, right? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Sorry about that. She started throwing up, and I thought it was just from the smell, but this face is funny. I'm not gonna lie. I want to crop her face just right here because that's hilarious. Well, she turned around like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And she goes over and she finds. Now, I thought because of the smell, because obviously you ran up on old boy, it wasn't the smell. You know what I mean? But she sees the group of the daughter and stuff like that is unalive. Somebody's gonna make memes of this here of her face, and she was like, yeah, it's a little bit, too much to take in, but they could tell that they were murdered by somebody, so they think that they were unalive by wolf. There's like, if they're killing children and stuff like that, then we most definitely got to handle our business. We got to make sure that they gone, son. We got to make sure that they no longer, not the last of us, the last of anybody. So they get into the outskirts of Seattle, 9 miles away, and you see the skyline. And this again, they did the same thing with Kansas City, even though that they had certain parts of Kansas City absolutely positively wrong. If you're in the Seattle area, did they get this right? Put in the comment section below. Or if you've been to Seattle, put in the comment section below. Why Seattle ain't raining right now is still beyond me. But all that green moss and all of that all over the place, I bet it's clickers everywhere. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. But do we know we own the destiny to be able to handle business? No, we get back to Joaquin Torres. It was like, again, I thought he was gonna see them on the trail. So they're part of the, now they're back in Seattle. They're making sure that nobody goes in and out because obviously they got this land on lock. And then you start to see Wolf come in. They got tanks. Where y'all getting gasoline from? Huh? Y'all got the tank still cracking? You got my man over there on patrol, citizens on patrol with the helmet on. You know what I'm saying? Look like fake ass stormtroopers. Everybody walking in, you got your militia, you got your group, everybody, walking tough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how Ellie and Dina gonna fight these folks? I'm not gonna lie. How Dina and Ellie gonna fight these folks? And that was the end of the episode. Not a bad. I'm not saying that the episode was like bad. It wasn't a bad episode. Show does a horrible job at world building. I will say this: there was no. The world looks good, right? But when you get into these particular locations, where are these people hiding at? Where's the effect? There's nothing. All Seattle does is rain. You know what I mean? Is rain. Wouldn't you think the infected would be bigger in Seattle? You know what I mean? So wouldn't it, I understand you showing the militia, they walking down the street, they big, bad, bold. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I completely get it. At the same time, wouldn't it be nice? Now, again, we got to see what they're going to do with Seattle. This is just a setup. Now, how do they execute going forward? And I'm thinking because we only got 4 episodes left, there's not going to be another filler episode. There's going to be action episodes. It's going to probably be bang, bang, bang. The 3. You get to the season finale, and then there's going to be there's going to be something action is going to lead into season 3. That's what I think is going to do. But yeah. And you said it makes sense. People would have an issue with this season so far because people had an issue with the second game. Look, I would say that I do remember IGN and people and stuff like that not really liking the way that the second game was filling out. But will they make with the people who created this show, with them knowing that, will they course correct and show different things in this series that they couldn't show in the video game? That's the question. And I want to know if they're going to do that. Because if they execute it right, I personally believe that the show would get better. But they have to make Bella Ramsey look like $1 million. They have to. And this is the movie industry. They can make somebody look like $1 million, or they can make somebody look like crap. Plain and simple. They can make somebody look like $1 million. It's framing, the way that you frame. Like when we talk about centers, if they didn't frame Cornbread in the way that he did, you wouldn't care nothing about his character, right? You wouldn't have cared about Miss Cho, it was a Chow, or I can't think of her name. The way that the way that Ryan filmed her and framed her in that particular scene, where you're like, God, yeah, man, throw her outside. Because I ain't gonna lie, I would have pulled Uncle Phil to Jazz. And she would have been would have tossed her out the door. As soon as she said, "Come on in," I would have shut her mouth. And she ain't saying nothing, and I would throw her ass right outside. Go ahead, be with Bo. But if he doesn't frame her in the way that she does, in that way, or Annie, that's her name. Frame her in that way, right? Hold on, y'all. If they don't frame her in that way, right? And then once you get to where she actually kills her husband and burns, or unalive, or what can I say on YouTube? Unalives her husband and he burns, it's not as impactful as it could be. And again, it's the way that they frame the character. And again, they have to frame these characters in a way where they are believable, understanding, all of that stuff. You have to. He said Grace and Bo was fine. You know what I mean? So, but again, that's the way that you have to do it. Let's see exactly if they are going to, what are they going to do with this? The look, Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, that made her a star. And honestly, besides Pulp Fiction, I can't really think of anything that she's been in that I'm like, that tops Kill Bill. And please don't bring up Batman and Superman, or Batman and Robin, or Batman Forever, whatever, which one it was, where Uma Thurman was Poison Ivy. You know, who killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. That's dumb, terrible. So I'm just saying, you know, I don't think that it is the way that they framed her, old school Kung Fu flick wise. They framed her in a way where she looked badass. But before that, when you first seen The Bride, did you think she was gonna be badass? Nope. So, in hell, Tilda Swinton was the ancient one. You know what I mean? But like I said, I just need to see the way that what we're gonna do next. Are they gonna make? How would I take the character after this? Is it going to be believable from the way that they shoot her standpoint, not her face, not like the way that they shoot her? That is the question that I have today.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that up, B.
I like that scene where they was voting. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. All right, let me get up out of here. Let me get you guys up out of here. Thank you so very much for going over this review of episode 3 of The Last of Us. What did you guys think of it? If you're watching this on a replay, put in the comment section below and let me know what you guys thought about this, or in the chat. Chat. Let me know what you thought about this. But again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you never, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'm gonna holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Enjoy the rest of you guys. It's Tuesday. Where is my outro at? You already know. I gotta go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over? What? Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourselves.